Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be the toughest video we record because I have to convince you to sell some talented running backs. I have to convince you to sell some running backs that are actually scoring fantasy points. And I know there are not a lot of those go around. But before we get into it, go down there, drop a like on this video. Subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. If you have any questions, drop them down below in the comment section. You know I'm going to be going there answering as many of those as I can. And also in that comment section, you are going to find a link to Underdog Fantasy. On Underdog Fantasy, you can check out all these cool player props. And when you sign up with promo code FLOCK, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. And only with promo code FLOCK. Work my butt off to get y'all this. You better be taking advantage of it. Are you going to get this special Derrick Henry line over under half a rushing yard? So if you go to link in the comment section, the link in the description, deposit $10 on Underdog with promo code FLOCK, automatically have $20 in your account, then go bet the 20 on the Derrick Henry over half a rushing yard. Work my butt off to get y'all that. Please take advantage. Available in damn near every state. Should be it. I don't want to waste too much of your time. Let's dive right into this. Let's go and look at D'Onta Foreman. Of course, hook 'em horns. Look at the entire wall we have right next to us. Of course, I'm rooting for my guy. We said he was going to be the starting running back. We said he was the handcuff guy behind Christian McCaffrey. And 100%, that has turned out pretty damn great. He has been the guy you wanted over Chuba Hubbard. Now, to be completely fair to Chuba Hubbard, he didn't play this past week. The man got injured the first week without Christian McCaffrey, okay? So right now, if you're looking at Foreman and just saying, okay, well, the workload we've had so far where 2 weeks ago, 118 rushing yards, this past week, 28 carries, 118 rushing yards again, this is guaranteed. Oh my gosh, ladies and gentlemen, this is not close to being guaranteed. Okay, with D'Onta Foreman, there are so many different things we need to worry about. A, the man does not catch the ball. Let's get that out there right now. PBR format, he's not going to catch the ball. He didn't catch the ball in Texas. He didn't catch the ball in Tennessee. He didn't catch the ball in Houston. He's not going to catch the ball in Carolina. That's not a skill set. B, there's the outside chance that they decide, oh, well, let's use Chuba Hubbard. We don't necessarily need D'Onta Foreman as a 3-down bell cow. And C, even if they go, okay, with Hubbard, no, we don't care about him at all. We're not going to use him. D'Onta Foreman can still go down. He can go down by a large amount because if we're looking at this Carolina Panthers offense, yeah, I mean, over the past 2 weeks, they've been great. I mean, this past week, they scored 34 points. The week prior, 21 points. But then before that, 10, 15, 16, 22, 16, 24. This team's averaging about, 16, 17 points per game. I mean, Carolina has a very difficult time moving the ball downfield. Now, I know we can blame this on a couple of different things. You can blame it on Matt Rule. You can blame it on Baker Mayfield. Blame it on whoever. But going forward, I am very hesitant to say the past 2 weeks is going to be predictive of this Carolina Panthers offense. And if we look back at what we had from Christian McCaffrey, right? Because I think best case scenario, we sit here and go, you know what, Mason? D'Onta Foreman, he can be Christian McCaffrey minus the passing down ability in this offense. If you are crazy enough to say that, okay, sure. If you are crazy enough to think that D'Onta Foreman long-term can be Christian McCaffrey without the receiving down skill set. If we look at CMC while he was in Carolina this season, without the receiving down skill set, 33 rushing yards, 102, 108, 27, 54, 69. That is nothing to do with CMC. Obviously, he's an elite level talent. That has everything to do with Carolina. The past 2 weeks, D'Onta Foreman had more rushing yards in both games than Christian McCaffrey had ever seen in Carolina this season. He's going to fall back down to earth a ton, regardless of if they use Chuba Hubbard or not. So if we could take D'Onta Foreman, sprinkle on a Terry McLaurin, and go get Jonathan Taylor, go get DeAndre Swift, hell, I'm doing that. I think we got a little bit more upside on the other end. Now going over to our next guy, super brief, Devin Singletary. Okay, with Singletary, we've had some questions. Been a sell-high guy for us for a long time, for a month. He was top 5 in the NFL in snaps played at the running back position, and he wasn't scoring fantasy points. Even if Niemeyns has a small role, which I don't know how big that role is going to be. Maybe it's pretty big. Singletary was already not scoring fantasy points. He's had 30 targets so far this year. Those targets are going to crater. Sell Singletary for whatever you can get. Go sell him for a bag of potato chips. Now, our next guy, I am very surprised we have to bring him up as well. I've had some people in the live chat this week getting excited about Antonio Gibson. Every single video, if you go watch any sell high running back video we've had all season, whoever was the starting running back for the Washington Commanders of the week, he was a sell high guy for us. Whether that was at the beginning of the year, we were saying to sell Antonio Gibson. Whether that was when Brian Robinson came in and had all the hype, we were saying to sell Brian Robinson. And what has been our explanation all along? You do not want a running back and a three-man running back by committee in one of the worst offenses in the NFL. Yes, Antonio Gibson comes out this past week. The man has 7 receptions, 58 receiving yards, and the receiving touchdown, a respectable stat line for a wide receiver, let alone a running back. Yes, Antonio Gibson sees the most snaps in Washington. However, he's right there tied with J.D. McKissic. 22 snaps for Gibson, 22 snaps for McKissic, 15 snaps for Brian Robinson. There's not a single startable running back here in Washington outside of maybe a flex / low-end running back too if you're desperate during the bye week. Go through, sell them for whatever you can get, include them in a package. Just be prepared. The rest of the season, just like what we've had so far, the starting running back in Washington, you fade because he's in a 3-man committee in a piss-poor offense. Now going over to our next guy, Gus Edwards. With Gus Edwards, I understand earlier this season, the man dominated 66 rushing yards, going along with that 2 rushing touchdowns in his debut. This previous performance from him against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is not going to be predictive going forward because hell, he got injured. I mean, you can't really hold. Gus Edwards getting injured against them. He should be somewhat healthy now. Maybe he ends up playing this week. Looks like that may be likely. But I don't think it matters either, because going right back to what we were saying with Antonio Gibson, I think Gus Edwards is a little bit of Deontay Foreman and he's a little bit of Antonio Gibson. He is the talented first and second down running back like Deontay Foreman, but his profile is a little bit like Antonio Gibson in that he's in a 3-man running back by committee. So you are looking at a running back that will never catch the ball out of the backfield. And I don't want to say we're just looking at a small sample. Of course, in the 2 games he's played so far this year, you have 1 target for 0 receptions and 0 receiving yards. But even if we go back to the last season that you had from him, a season where if we include the playoffs, the man has over 160 carries. He had 13 total targets. His weekly target performance, including the playoffs, let's count this out. 0, 0, 0, 0, 3, 0, 1, 2, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 2, 2, 1, 0, 0. A lot of zeros in there. In a PPR format, he has absolutely no ceiling whatsoever. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to fade. I don't want to start him. I don't want him on our roster. I don't see what the upside is. Not to mention that this team's on bye the week after. And then also, you have Dobbins coming back later in the year. A PPR format, no interest. Now our next player, Khalil Herbert, 6th in the NFL in rushing, averaging 6.2 yards per carry. Oh my gosh. Khalil Herbert looks like a stud. The man over the past month has had more carries every single game so far. Went from 4 carries to 7 carries to 12 carries to 16 carries. He looks like the more electric. He looks like the more dynamic version of David Montgomery. But this is a bad offense. I know a lot of people are excited about Justin Fields. I know that the Chicago Bears lose 29-49 this past week. So naturally, we have a lot of people saying, in this game that they lost 29-49, Justin Fields looked pretty good. Justin Fields now has Chase Claypool. Justin Fields not good, okay? I thought we'd been proven right by now, but I guess we still have the haters telling us that Justin Fields is great. Justin Fields is not going to be a good quarterback. This is still going to be a bad offense. Khalil Herbert, while he looks dominant, while he looks like a great talent, David Montgomery is still here. David Montgomery over the past 3 weeks has had 15 carries in every single contest. David Montgomery is still touching the ball more than Khalil Herbert. Even if we assume that Herbert continues to expand his role, maybe he's out touching David Montgomery. Maybe Khalil Herbert's getting, say, the 16 carries and David Montgomery has 10. But I would make the argument where if we look at Khalil Herbert as a pass catcher, he's had 7 targets this year. He's not getting involved at all. I know we all remember the screen pass against the New England Patriots, and you think that Khalil Herbert's actually involved here. No, he's not involved as a pass catcher. He's in a bad offense. He's still in a running back by committee. I mean, I think he's a premium handcuff running back. I think Alexander Mattison in a PPR format has a higher ceiling, even if he has a little bit of a smaller role on a week-to-week basis, because I'm not too excited about either player outside of a potential injury to the starting running back here. Now going over to our next guy, Tony Pollard is phenomenal. Tony Pollard looks like he should be the starting running back for the Dallas Cowboys. And trust me, I want everybody here that's a Cowboys fan. If you want to root for this team, send a message. I mean, you're probably not going to be able to find him on Instagram. I have no idea if Jerry Jones is on Instagram, but I'm sure you can find a business email of the sort to email the Dallas Cowboys. And we need to start a mass email campaign. Maybe we should start writing letters to Jerry Jones saying, I don't care how much money you're paying Ezekiel Elliott. Can we get rid of this garbage narrative that Tony Pollard can't be on the field because he's not an effective blocker? Who cares if he's not an effective blocker? Who cares if Ezekiel Elliott's a little bit better at blocking when Tony Pollard is a way better running back? Tony Pollard coming out this past week goes through and absolutely dominates. 14 carries, 131 rushing yards, and 3 rushing touchdowns. Tony Pollard, 6.2 yards per carry compared to Ezekiel Elliott at 4.1. This is the continued trend now of Tony Pollard for every season over the past 4 years, averaging significantly more yards per carry than Ezekiel Elliott, looking like a more dynamic running back than Ezekiel Elliott. However, Jerry Jones is coming out saying, oh no, don't get excited here. Don't think we're doing the right thing. Don't think we're starting Pollard. Ezekiel Elliott's going to have his role when he comes back. And that role for Ezekiel Elliott, 10, 15, 15, 19, 22, 13, 15 carries. It's frustrating. I think Pollard's going to fall back to being a low-end RB2. I wish he was taking over as the starter. I think he is just the most premium handcuff running back in fantasy football right now. Things would be different if it wasn't for Ezekiel Elliott making so much money, where Jerry Jones essentially was holding this franchise hostage and saying, oh no, hey, Ezekiel Elliott sells jerseys. Ezekiel Elliott's getting paid a lot. Put Zeke out there on the field. It's frustrating, but it's the world we live in. Now, our last guy, Leonard Fournette. Fournette had been getting there with a ton of cheap receptions earlier in the season in a PPR format. 37 receptions so far this season. 42 targets. I mean, Leonard Fournette almost has more receiving yards than actually rushing yards. Now, I know yards per carry is not a great metric. I know we've used it a couple times in this video and maybe drive a point home. I shouldn't be using it as much as we are in this video, but I mean, just for reference, Leonard Fournette doesn't look great. So you can watch the games yourself. You can look at the 3.4 yards per carry. I don't care what you look at. This Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense doesn't look great, and it's going to be fine if you're playing in a PPR format and Leonard Fournette can still have this role as a pass catcher where he's getting there with those cheap receptions. He's getting there, and he's giving you 6 points a game just off of receptions. He adds in 38 receiving yards, and you're at 10 points already. Just hoping we have something in the rushing game, something with the touchdown. However, that has dwindled as of late. Over the past 2 weeks, you have fewer than 10 carries both games for Leonard Fournette. Over the past 2 weeks, what's most important, in my opinion, you have only 3 targets a game for Fournette. Rachaad White's expanding his role. It looks like this coaching staff is beginning to trust Rachaad White more and more. White is now getting involved as a pass catcher. White is in there at the end of the game against the Ravens when they're trying to get the 2-point conversion to stay in the game. When they're on the 1-yard line, they have Rachaad White in the contest, not Leonard Fournette. I'm very worried about Fournette in terms of the bell cow role maybe being sliced up and some of it's given to Rachaad White. Maybe Fournette has a higher floor because he is currently fully healthy than someone like Jonathan Taylor. But if we're looking at a ceiling case here, I think someone like Jonathan Taylor, while of course everybody's hitting the panic button on him because the floor is very low, he currently is injured. I may rather have JT over Fournette. I mean, especially with Hines getting dealt. Of course, I'm recording this video on November 3rd. If Jonathan Taylor's ruled out for the season tomorrow, please ignore this. But I think that's all we got for you. Of course, thank you so much for hanging out with us this video. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. If you did not already, go down there, drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. Go to the comment section. Let me know how stupid I am. Ask me any questions you have there. And also down in that comment section, you will find a link to Underdog Fantasy, where you can check out all these cool player props. And only with promo code FLOCK are you going to get your first deposit match dollar for dollar up to 100, plus this special Derrick Henry line over under half a rushing yard. Please go take advantage of that. I worked so hard to get it for you. And when you sign up, make sure you use promo code FLOCK. Deposit that $10, have 20 in the account. Go bet the 20 on Derrick Henry to have at least a rushing yard. But thank you again. I appreciate you. I hope you have a great day and hope we get to see you in the live stream tonight.